And it loves the whole, and it loves the giver of the whole. Heaven knows the world needs a sense of inclusiveness as we approach this election, as we approach the boundaries between Pakistan and Afghanistan, and the sects in Iraq, and all of the differences around us that are so tempting to turn into them, the enemy. When you're in their spiritual heart, there is no enemy. There's only us. There's only that mutual belonging, which is so desperately needed by the world. That eye of the heart is connected to the will of the heart. And that will is marked by a lot of things. The heart's will. There's a certain amazing confidence that it has. It's not an ego confidence. It's not an arrogance. We probably all touch that place where suddenly I can do it. Suddenly I'm confident in the way things are, and I can live and move and have my being out of that which I have touched now. There is that empowering capacity that's given us in the spiritual heart to do which our egos are afraid of, which our minds can rationalize all kinds of ways of getting out of, or a misunderstanding. Of course, it's marked by a certain freedom, too, a freedom to be that way, a sudden capacity to move in any direction that's called for. Don't we yearn for that at a given time? Instead of feeling like, oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or I have to do this, or I have to do that. Instead of you're free for anything at a given time, and you choose then, and you're capable of then what is called for, what belongs to the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of heaven. What belongs to love, what belongs to light. And of course it's marked by compassion, that will. It wants love in the world, not just a sentimental love that feels good, but it wants the love that really is in touch with what is called for, that is the love of the moment, which may be a very tough love, or a very soft love, or the way that Lama was with me in those early years of Shalem, before I translated it fully back into a Christian context, where he could be capable of being endlessly different with different people. He could be the way he was called to be with a given person, not just expediently, because that was the safe way to be, but because that was what was called for. He could give someone something to do, some manual labor. He could get angry at someone. He could ignore someone. He could laugh at someone. He could give them some prayer. He could whatever was called for to draw them deeper into their own true being, their own freedom, their own capacity for what compassion really is. Not to stop short of what they're capable of. As Jesus said, in John's Gospel, one of his greatest lines, you're going to do more than me in the power of the Spirit. You will do greater things than I. So here we are. Not being arrogantly taking on things because we're so great, but because deep in the core of our being, there is a greatness which is not an ego greatness, but is the image of God. That is our truest being. And there phenomenal capacity and greatness and freedom in that core being that we are. And it's from that place that contemplative leadership rises. From that place that we take actions that are called for in the moment. From that place that we have a certain independence, where we're in the world but not of it, of God, of our deepest nature in God. That kind of independence that scared people in Jesus. You're speaking with a kind of authority nobody else speaks with. You're saying things that challenge me, and I haven't asked to be challenged, thank you. I want to run away from you because you know me too well. And I don't want to know myself that well, because that's going to mean change, and I'm afraid of change. I don't trust that I'm more than I already am, and seen, and have, and want to keep. Contemplative leadership that is a liberating leadership that draws out the possibilities of a given situation, that allows the situation to expand into what was not known until that option showed up. Maybe not from that person who was the contemplative leader 5 minutes ago, but it was a group of people together in a meeting because of the silence of the bell and the time to lean back into that deeper spiritual heart. Someone else comes up with that which is called for to say or to do. Not to do to justify us as an organization, not to do because it's the safe thing to do, but to do because that's the call. And in responding to the call, that's where life is. That's where we choose life, and not the staleness of that which is simply protected. Now, Shalem, I think, has leaned into that spiritual heart, all different vocabularies since its beginning. I can tell you back in the beginning, when that first group came together, and I had no idea that anyone would see anything that I was leading as more than just a private fantasy of my own. And when I began to see that this belonged to other people too, not just to me, that's when it got scary. Because this is something real, and something that has consequences, and something that I eventually saw was a reawakening of a deep contemplative tradition that has been so marginalized and so lost in so much of the Christian world and the Jewish world, and until the last few decades. It's been there in the Islamic world and the Sufi tradition. It's been there in ways in Hindu tradition and Buddhist and Taoist traditions, but of course in contemplative tradition it has its own slant, its own special grace, its own special way of seeing wholeness, and its own special gifts for the world, its own special evangelical qualities. But it's grounded in that same place of deep reality that belongs to everyone. And that's why it's the hope of the world. Because in the spiritual heart, we discover that, hey, this belongs to everybody. Everybody has a spiritual heart. So there's a very crucial, important, lost mission